Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I have just an amazing guest to share with you today. He is informative, inspiring. You're just gonna love it. I have with us today Aaron McCormick. He is an author, entrepreneur, inspirational speaker, and artist whose path to success and fulfillment defies societal norms and expectations in nearly every way. He is the author of the book, Unbounded Journey to Your Within. It is fantastic. First off, welcome, Aaron. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, Paula. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Thrilled to have you here. Well, I would love to begin with just a touch of your background and what inspired you to write this fantastic book.
Well, the background, actually, the book is not specifically about my background. It's meant to take people into their own history and connect their dots. I would say what inspired me is my own sense of empathy throughout the years, where for whatever reason, first of all, I believe whatever we experience, our soul has drawn it. It's our cause, it's our purpose to experience the things that we do. And for whatever reason, people would bring various issues and challenges to me, even clients. I'd be on business meetings and more information and personal stuff would come out, and just the challenges that we all tend to face in life. And I would end up asking fairly introspective questions that would cause the other person to really have their own epiphany or epiphanies. They would just kind of get out of this troubled state of being stuck and concerned about what to do. And they would realize this is what is going to be best for me. So, and that's happened across relationships. It's happened in business, definitely helping people realize their true north and what they should be doing for work, or becoming better at it because they've lost their joy in it. Just in a lot of different areas of life, this has happened. And somewhere, I guess, in my 21st or second year of being a business executive, because I was 39 at the time and I started very young, I just sort of realized that more money, more whatever, cars, houses, you name it, was not the answer for me. And I was never truly fulfilled in the first place. I was really applying a big part of what I am, which is a keen listener, very intuitive. I'm very energetic, or I don't mean energy, I mean spirit-based, as in energy-based. And that has helped me in business, and I've been very successful there. But that's really a snippet of why I'm here. Apparently, what's been the thread of all that I've done in business and what's really made me the most happy is seeing other people become their most powerful selves through themselves, as opposed to attributing it to some mentor, some other source, or some degree, or something external. I love seeing people realize the fullness of what they actually are, what we all individually are. And so I decided, rather than have a bunch of onesie twosie like over the years, let's address this in a more macro way, and let's get some of these tips, ways of thinking, ways of experiencing, ways of connecting your past, your present, as well as your future, because your future has an energy. When you think of it, whatever you think it is, that has an energy too. And so let's connect all those, and allow you to determine whether or not you have conflict, so that you have a more joyful present and future by integrating really your physical life and your spirituality, meaning your energy.
Yes. So, how would you say we detect if we have conflict, and how do we move through that?
Great question. You know, they say, a lot of people say you should focus on joy and only joy. I think that's important, but you also must focus on where you don't have joy. You got to notice where you are lacking in joy. And joy is really all of our purpose. We all have the exact same purpose. And we can know this if we look at a child, a toddler, and how, I think you have children. You told me So any of us, even if you don't have children, you observe a toddler. If you ask them to do something that they don't want to do, there's a big grunt. It's no way. They're going to seek what feels good for them, or they're not going to be, a part of it.
Yeah.
It's the same way when we're much older, right? When we're older, we generally don't live our lives according to some external expectation. We're comfortable in who and what we are. It's that part in the middle of our life that, beyond the bookends, where we're lost, where peer pressure and societal norms and all these other expectations. So a good way to determine how you've deviated from your joy, which is your purpose, is really simple. Do I have joy in this friendship? Sometimes we're in friendships because I don't want to, separate and break their heart, or I don't want to, but you're triggered every time you're with them, but they're with a group of friends. And so you got to be in that group, but you're agitated. So there's a conflict of energy there, and you don't have to be in that kind of situation. Or it's a job that we don't really like going to at all. If you dread going to work, you are giving the majority of your life, your time, your most valuable asset, to something that is in conflict with your soul. Even if you say, oh, but I got to make a living, it's still in conflict. So, Paula, the simplest answer is really be transparent with yourself about, does this thing, entity, responsibility, etc., does it enrich me? Does it give me joy or not?
Yes, yes. And when we realize that and think about that, Aaron, that really can inspire us to open our mind to what we may discover that would trigger happiness, or be open to a career change and discovering something that, oh my gosh, I love this. This is a passion. I mean, we always have a door there if we can just take the step
Yes.
to go through it and give it a try, can't we?
Yes, I actually talk about that in the book, where, well, remember, not every, but the three most important things are addressed in the book that we all face. It's living with yourself, what's inside of you, who are you, what makes you you, and what makes you behave how you behave, become more familiar. It's tough to love what you don't fully understand. That's why we have such a self-love issue in the world today. It's about, because we're so morphed from what we really are. Gradually we have morphed because there's a lot of pressure, external pressure, all around us. So to your point about awakening, so to speak, to what really bring us joy, that's actually one of the benefits of dark times or challenging times. Whether they're societal dark times, challenging things that are going on in the world that really make you have to go within and find new ways to be joyful, or because it's really fear. Fear is what keeps us from doing the things that we love, because usually the things that we love they're not always something that the world deems a viable thing to do, especially for a living. Or in the case of a relationship, ending a relationship that you may feel like, I shouldn't, I can't, but it's robbing your joy. Society has opinions, and those opinions hold us back. So it's the fear. Once you begin to step out of the control of the fear, and you accept that, okay, I got two choices here. I can either live in conflict, lack of joy, or I can buck the expectation or the fear that is keeping me in this state, experience some discomfort because of that immediate sort of going against the grain. But the other side of that is the floodgates opening, right? Now you're in the life you want to be, or you're in the relationship or the experience or the job that you want to be in.
Yes, yes. Because when we can step through that fear, it opens the door to so much. And it doesn't mean we have to accept, we do have to accept, I'm taking a new step. I may not know my exact path, but I'm going to find it. I'm going to create it. And that's a beautiful thing, isn't it, Aaron?
It is. It's a conscious decision for some. For others, it's natural. And for those that it's natural, they end up, even those that do it consciously, however you get there, you end up wanting to share, because it's an awesome way to exist and it's a birthright for all of us to be in a state of unison. Unison meaning our physical reality, the thing that we all are anchored to, that we all focus on, how we look, where we live, where we go for work, the things we do. That's the physical reality, with the more esoteric or spiritual reality, which means the thing that has always wanted joy since we were a baby, the thing that has always had its own opinion, but gradually learned to suppress it because, oh, I'm female and I can't do those macho things, or the opposite, I'm a male and the boys will laugh at me if I like dance or art, or from simple stuff like that to bigger things. We've morphed so much, and it's a beautiful place when you do the opposite. Another thing I like to bring out for us is um, on the journey, the fear aspect. People talk so much about fear, and it's looked down, not looked down upon, but it's something nobody wants, of course, but the purpose of it serves us in such a great way. Whether you think about lifting weights and how the pressure grows the muscle, the analogy of the diamond, the pressure makes the diamond, you can't become the most beautiful version of yourself without having to step through something that is perceived by you, at least, to be monumentally challenging. Notice I said perceived by you because it's your own emotion. Somebody else might look at your circumstance and go, "What's the big deal? That's easy." It's not. It's not about what somebody else thinks, because it's the load, it's the makeup that you have, and the ideals and things that shape you that you must step through. And until you step through them, you will have a mediocre existence. And what I mean by mediocre, this has nothing to do with money. That's just one aspect of it. It means you can't have the highest levels of fulfillment and joy without having to traverse the perils of your own hangups, your own blockage, your own lack of awareness of who and what you are, and being able to love yourself as you are and take those steps to do things that bring you what you need to bring. So it's weird. It's kind of like we don't love fear. It doesn't feel great. But when you understand the purpose of it, you can embrace the process.
Yes, yes. And, with embracing that and realizing and looking at it, we can actually become stronger in walking through it, can't we?
Oh, big time. There's a chapter in the book that talks about how anxiety serves you. And in this social media age, if anyone has ever seen on YouTube or Facebook Goalcast, which to me is probably one of the only valuable things on Facebook. No offense to those who love Facebook, but I mean, it just has these short little blurbs, these 3 or 4 minute clips of someone that we might all know for whatever reason that has become inspirational, a positive figure, and you learn all the hell, so to speak, that they've gone through. And you realize, okay, so there's a pattern here. You just don't become that valuable to yourself and to others without going through stuff. And we all have stuff we can go through, but we usually are so busy running from it. So we don't get that story of having stepped through something that otherwise would have been very challenging to go through. But to your point, I allude to how we can kind of have superpowers, so to speak. You said how much stronger it makes you, because when you have to go through something that you never considered facing or doing, and you do it, and yes, it's painful, and you are down in this period, there's nothing like surviving it and realizing, oh, I did that. It's kind of like when we were children and you're like, I can't ride that bike, or I can't swim, my head can't go underwater, or I'll never pass 4th or 5th grade. There's long division up there. How will I ever learn that? Once you come through that, you're more aware of your potential, right? You feel stronger. And I believe that your actual vibrational frequency takes a mega change. And that's like, vibrational frequency meaning, the frequency of joy and happiness and love. If you put us to a biofeedback machine, the vibrational measurement, this is a real scientific thing, not just esoteric woo-woo stuff, right? It's higher. Yes. If they put something that scares you in front of you, your vibrational frequency is lower. So when you've actually faced fears and come out of them, your operational level, meaning your normal day-to-day vibrational frequency, is higher. because you have contrast. You remember being in that state of stuck, or that state of horrible job that you dread, or
Mhm.
terrible relationship, whatever it is. And now every single day you're like, boy, I just appreciate being, right? You feel happier just in the absence of the thing that you got past. So
Yes.
your steady state is even better. And that then attracts more good things, right? So it's like a snowball effect.
Yes. When we realize we can make it through a challenge or get through something that we were afraid of, really it brings us a sense of empowerment as well. You know,
Um,
I did this. What else can I do? I can do even more.
and it takes away fear, because
Yeah.
the next thing that comes your way, you realize I can do this. And even beyond that, part of what the theme of the book is, when it talks about journeying to your within, is to your point about knowing what you can now therefore accomplish. When you look back on your life, all the things that you consciously believe served you and all the things that you consciously believe hurt you, you'll begin to realize there's really has been no failures, because even the things that you thought was a failing, you realize in retrospect how they helped and served you. And if you haven't realized that yet on a certain topic, give it a little more time. At some point, without question, you will. People who are in their 70s, 80s, pick an elderly age, they don't really have a lot of regrets usually. They realize how everything has served them. So the to consciously go within is to go through a process of looking at stages of your life, looking at things that happened for us all and how we felt, the energy inside of us, what we were thinking, what we were scared of, what triggered us, what all these different things, and understanding how they served you then, how they're serving you now. And to your point about feeling stronger afterward, that's where we start to transmute a lot of future fears, because you start to realize, okay, there's a higher me involved. Higher meaning, the we talked about the frequency, the essence before we were born, and I allude to how a baby has a personality before his parents taught him or her anything, right? They have an essence. And this also fascinates me, Paula. We hear these stories where a person, two extremes. One person might have been coddled financially, was born into a wealthy family, also had lots of love, support, encouragement, the whole bit. And the person grows up to be a delinquent or a person that is not contributing to society. And then you might have the other person, the other extreme, where someone's been abused, told they're worth nothing, and physically abused and in poverty. And they grow up to become some of the most inspirational, eloquent, etc. That is more evidence that we are something beyond the stimuli that's around us. And the stronger the radio signal is to that real thing you are, the less conflict you have. When you're morphed by what's around you, you're going to be stuck in a state of small to large levels of conflict, right, in everything. And that's the whole point of getting stronger, by knowing everything is serving you, and that boosts your confidence going forward.
Yes. Yes. And this type of thing can affect us in our relationships, in our business, everything with how we go forward in our life.
Yeah, definitely, because we have no choice but to be ourselves. And
Yeah.
when ourselves is not really ourselves, um, it's been said that especially in relationships, you don't get what you want, you get what you are, because like attracts like. So if you find yourself uh, unaware of who you are, uh, divided, insecure, overly needy of a relationship, that's why they say the best time for a relationship is when you're not looking for one,
Yeah.
because you're happy and fulfilled anyway. And oh, look at this bonus. If you're hard up for it, you're either going to get somebody that's going to take advantage of that and won't be in a relationship with you. They'll just get certain things from you, whether it be money or physical sex or whatever it is, or you're going to draw somebody that needs it just as bad as you. And now you guys are codependent just like that. So the answer to every problem in life is yourself. The
Yeah.
more you anchor, steady, be honest with, despite any repercussions, with what you are, the more self-sustained you are, and therefore everything else can then enhance you. Everything else enhances. It doesn't make you.
Yes, yes, because it's so easy for us to base our self-worth and what we do on what others think. I know for me personally in junior high, when I was severely bullied, and one day I just said, love me or don't. And that set me free. I'm just going to be me, you
Awesome.
know? And that just changes everything when we look at our inner selves and find that security that you talk about, and that
You know,
self-love.
the worst conflict is with yourself. And it seems like at that moment, you got out of the conflict of trying to be what they were bullying you to be, or bullying you because you were not.
Yeah.
And to say, love me or don't, it reminds me, about 4 years ago, I escaped or left a fundamentalist religious cult that I was raised in. This is a Christian-based cult that's so extreme that if you decide that you no longer want to believe that everyone else is doomed unless they are within your religion, or that everyone else is non-associable, like you can't associate with them, all this divisive stuff. And I was raised in this, born in it. So, and I thought it was the greatest thing, or it was going to save the planet, all these different things. And when I realized that the heart inside of me doesn't feel that way about my fellow man because of these so-called ideals or rules. It doesn't feel that somebody born in India or in the in Asia somewhere, or other parts of the world, where the Middle East, where the dominant religion is Muslim, Buddhist, or Hindu, they innocently, all these people wake up, or they're born innocently, completely indoctrinated with their faith, and those people have zero possibility of instantly becoming my religion. And then to condemn them, I just couldn't do it. And I don't know why at 39 years old I decided this is I always felt the conflict. Let me just be clear. I've always felt that conflict my whole life, but for some reason it was time for me to not be it anymore. And that decision, by the way, Paula, would cost me my entire universe of family and friends. So, about 4 years ago, I lost 2,000 people or more. That's just give or take, from every state I've lived in, because that was my only world. Like, coworkers and schoolmates were relegated to those things, but my real life was only people within the religion. My family have not met my two children, who are 4 and 2 years old, because their belief system tells them that they will be displeasing God to even associate with me.
Wow.
But the peace that I had in that, and that I have now, is I'd rather be hated for who I am than loved and accepted for who I actually am not. It's exactly what you said on that playground. And I have no bitterness to them either, because my purpose is for all of us to know how expansive and powerful and connected all of us are, and that we must live whatever our truth is in this particular life's journey. The real truth is up here, where we all may find out when we die someday how connected we really all are. But for now, it's like, I don't want people to live in conflict. So I would never have my mother or my family feel compelled out of guilt because I want grandparent for my children, and yet she has to feel guilty inside and go to sleep feeling weird. And nope, I respect her truth. I want her to stay complete. If that's what her heart feels, live it. But if your heart feels different, you got to inspect what the energy is inside and make it whole. You got to unite what's inside of you with your reality and integrate the two. So I'm at peace with it.
Aaron, beautiful message. That is a beautiful message. And we have just a few minutes left in the show. What last message do you want to leave with everyone today, Aaron?
In more ways than one, we're connected. We all serve each other, whether we realize it or not. There are two purposes of every human: is to serve self, to experience joy and love. You can't give what you don't have. So selfishness is good. There's a measure to it. But then right after that need to serve self, it is to serve others. So if you haven't realized your own value to yourself because yourself has been clouded by so much, it's time to go find the value to yourself. And then you'll be finding things, ways that you are serving or that you can help others. And even when we go through bad things, the other humans that we interact with are actually serving us because we are energy before we are something physical. And so if a lot of bad things keep happening to you, your soul is trying to teach you something, and other humans are complicit by giving you that bad experience, and you are going to grow from it. But careful of the blame to others elsewhere, because we're actually creating what's happening to us. That may seem hard to comprehend now, but if you go through certain things and take certain conscious steps to understand patterns, you'll realize the truth in this, and that's very powerful. So I would just say, to all the listeners, we're all very connected. We are love, we are joy, and try not to be too affected by things external to you, and let that rob you of your true self.
Oh, thank you so much, Aaron. This has been so fantastic.
Thank you for having me.
Great messages. Oh, and everyone, check out his book, Unbounded Journey to Your Within. It's fantastic. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. Love, hugs, and blessings. Aaron, love, hugs, and blessings. Thank you so much.
Big hug.
Big hug. Bye, everyone.